You are now tuned in to the motherfucking Ambition Hour podcast on Worth the Wait Radio. You ready?
Dub T, motherfucking dub, ho.
Yo, and welcome to the Ambition Hour podcast. It's your girl Claudia Renee on your airwaves, and this is episode 117.
Yo,
Dub T, motherfucking dub,
here,
ho.
doing it right.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Hey. I am so fucking excited. I'm always excited when I do this. That's how I start every episode. I think y'all got it that this is really exciting for me. Hello everybody. Welcome to the Ambition Hour podcast. This is episode 117, and I just want to say, my people, we have made it to 117 episodes. And gee golly.
Gee golly.
It's crazy. I was looking at pictures and videos and stuff from like old episodes because I wanted to post something on the podcast Instagram. And it was like, what the heck? Like episode 14, I had to do the math. I was like, that's like 102 episodes ago. And then even like I did like I was looking at episode 64, and because it was like it came up in my Instagram like feed or whatever, that like what happened a year ago. And I was like, damn, that was a year ago. Last year was so different, like obviously because of what we're going through right now. But it was just so different, and it's such a blessing how every single year there's something new that happens in your life, and in somehow some way something always happens that affects all of us. Because even like when there's hurricanes, when there's like big natural disasters that end up happening, I guess the world gets a little bit more aware of their surroundings and things like that. But yeah, so got a little deep there. I was about to get a little conspiracy theorist.
Diving right in.
because if you think about it, like when something happens, like with 9/11, right? When 9/11 happened, it wasn't just America that was affected. It was the rest of the world. Like people couldn't come into America. People had family in other countries, and it was just like a little bit more strict when it came down to flying. And times were scary. People lost jobs. There was just so many different things that were happening economically. So when you think about what's happening right now, it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different story. You know what I mean? It's like, and you guys have probably heard that, like history repeats itself somehow, some way. So here we are. I think it's week 6 for quarantining. I'm pushing to my first month. It's been a whirlwind. I stand before you a hot mess. But I'm very grateful, like I am every single episode. And this week I am very grateful for I'm grateful for so many things, but I'm very grateful that I didn't get rid of my violin because I picked it back up.
Gotta be grateful for that.
I picked it back up, and I was just like, you know what? Okay, so check this out. Moment of accountability, right? So I was so excited to get this violin. So excited. I asked for it for Christmas. I get the violin. Like, you know what I mean? Parents always come through best. And so pretty much I get it, and then I try playing it, and then I'm thinking that like my body is just gonna automatically remember how to play an instrument that I played when I was
Muscle memory, baby.
13 years old. Okay. 13 years old, right? That's more than 10 years ago. That's more than 15 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So when you think about it, like, what do you really remember from that time unless you kept doing it? You know what I mean? But no, I was thinking that I could perform a whole concert like how I used to do when I was, in middle school. So it didn't happen. So, of course, I got discouraged because I tried to skip steps. And so this time I'm like, guess what? I'm not skipping steps. I'm going to learn how to actually do it, because I was just like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't need to learn it. So I would skip it in the book. Sometimes it's ourselves. It's ourselves. So I'm happy that I picked it up because it taught me things. It was just like, it kind of awoke, and that's how you say it. Awoke.
Or awaken.
Listen, it woke me up.
This isn't an English class, by the way.
For real. It's funny because in English I was really good, like the subject. It was my favorite subject, but I was gonna say Spanish since I would do Spanish for English speakers. My teacher, she was the way that she spoke Spanish was different than mine, so her and I had different opinions about certain words, and I wasn't afraid to share them. So yeah.
Claudia was T.J. Henderson.
No, it wasn't because everybody around me, a lot of them spoke English. They actually didn't know Spanish. So yeah, I don't know. I was just like, no, but that's not how my mom says it. And it's just like, yeah, but that's not the correct way to say it. And it's like, I should have learned a different language. I shouldn't have been lazy. Like, that's the advice that I would give to my 17-year-old self. Y'all know that that's like one of my favorite questions to ask. What advice would you give your 17-year-old self? I wish that I would have gotten actually 16-year-old, because yeah. But yeah, I would have been like, girl, do not take Spanish for English speakers. Like, take a different language. As you can see, I've been self-reflecting. Those two were free though. Those were not. Those were not. Those were not. You know, in the yeah. Those were freestyles, real quick. Hav is in the building as always.
Yep, we're here, man.
My audiovisual gang.
Hope everyone's staying safe. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you share.
Hav, I know we have a song from Gauze.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing but the money.
Ooh, is it a coincidence?
I think not. Great minds think alike. It's the Dubs Up.
I love this shirt.
Couple kingpins.
For real. It's funny because in another life I would have been one of them.
Or married to one of them.
Married. Dang. For real, Hav knows me way too well. Continuing. But yeah, so shout out to Gauze who dropped that song. Make sure you guys check it out.
Yeah,
it's on
Dubs
on WTW Radio.
It's on there. It's going to be on all platforms soon, so y'all check
Very
that out,
soon.
man.
Exactly. And make sure you guys are following Gauze on Instagram.
On the socials, hell yeah.
I think it's Gauze_G.
That's right.
So check him out.
Now you
Check
know.
out all the other artists that we have on WTW.
Slayback Sosa, CAB, Spitz, Beautiful Data.
All of them. So
Those up.
this whole quarantining thing and social distancing has sparked an idea in my family's life. So we've been doing Zoom calls. That's really since I started quarantining, the only Zoom calls that I was really doing was with my family. And then now it's like the workouts, which is really cool because it's like it motivates you. It's like someone's just telling you what to do, and you don't got. Y'all know how it is with me in the gym. It's in working out. Totally. We can definitely talk about that later because that's tough. But yeah, so the Zoom calls have been a lot more with like family, and so we decided to like, that one of us would DJ. Which, well, it was supposed to be my dad, but I ended up DJing. So I had a lot of fun. So it was like a full, like, DJ session with my family. And then we were all dancing, and it was just so much fun. And I had such a great time. I was, okay, so they've been doing these versus battles on Saturdays at 9 o'clock, right? And so that night was the Teddy Riley and Babyface, the first one. It was that first battle. And I was just like, damn it, I'm going to miss the battle. Because I'm DJing the family Zoom party.
Booked and busy.
Yeah. So I was just like, I felt the pressure. I'm like, I can't put the live on the Zoom call. Like, you just can't.
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah, check this. Check out what I'm gonna
Hey,
watch
y'all know
right
Teddy
now
Riley?
for the next 2 hours. What's funny is that a lot of this, especially this music, I would say. There's a reason how I know it. There's some music that I obviously know because of my parents, and shout out to my parents because they listen to a lot of different music. I grew up listening to so much music, which is why later on I'm gonna speak on the whole of repeating and listening songs over and over and over again. But yeah, music has just always been a big part of our lives. And the music that I listen to now is a lot of more old school music. Like, especially music that, like, that Babyface did, that Teddy Riley did. A lot of those songs, I didn't know that they were behind them. Like, to me, like, I just knew. I knew it was a good song. So it was cool to see them kind of battle and gain that knowledge. But yeah, so like that music, like I ended up having to find it myself, or like I would hear it in movies. And that's why the whole thing of soundtracks of movies is so important. Which brings me to one of the best movies ever, Love and Basketball. So Love and Basketball celebrated its 20th anniversary of of the movie releasing. And if you've never seen Love and Basketball, please, I urge you to watch it. It is such a good movie. And something that I love about it is the whole like kids, like the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, like that kind of thing that happens in the movie. And how in the first quarter is when they meet, and then you see them kind of like, oh, I like you, but like, you know, and then they start off at, hey, so we were talking about getting back with your exes. Didn't we talk about that last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we talked about that, and it was kind of just like, no, like, you don't do that, and this, and that. And then you see the situation where in this movie, they first dated when they were like 11 years old, and then they got back together like a couple years after.
Yeah, but like what the bitch says, if it's meant to be, y'all be back together. Y'all get back together.
Yeah, so they break up in the movie total 2 times, right? And so there was oh my god, it's just that I'm gonna get so
They did break up.
yeah, because I'm gonna get so deep into the movie, because there's a part of there's a big part of the breakup that I did want to bring up. So which is the whole how she left. And she
left him the night of.
she left him the night of him finding out that his father was, you know, being a player.
For the Lakers.
Not just a basketball player. So what ends up happening is that he feels like that he can't trust anybody, so he wants to go and talk to her and kind of like pour himself into like her, with like everything that he's just feeling and stuff like that. And so she brings up the fact that she has to kind of sort of go to her room because she has curfew, because she has a game the next day. Mind you, this girl has been playing basketball like her whole life. Like, but she like goes to basketball games with the basketball in her hand. Like, that's how serious it is. I feel like do you guys?
I like how that shows that that commitment. Like, oh, they bring a yo, you know, they're dedicated when they bring a basketball to the basketball game.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you bringing back? Like, you're gonna put a suit up? Like, what's going on? Those are like the dudes that go fully dressed in like matching matching clothes.
Like they part of the team.
Like they part of the team to go like in the park.
Oh, in the park. Oh. Oh, like they on the practice squad.
Yeah. Like, why are you over ready right now?
She got the headband and everything.
But yeah, so that's part of it. But it also takes you on the journey of, you know, her graduating and then, you know, doing really good things after that little incident that I just told you guys. He ends up going to the league, and then she ends up winning a championship. She ends up wins a championship, ends up graduating, and ends up going to Spain and playing, you know, internationally. So something that I learned about the movie is that when the director was writing the concept of the movie and like how everything was going to go down, the WNBA wasn't around yet.
Oh wow.
So the WNBA part that you see at the end of the movie, that is actually a part that they had to end up writing at the end because there was a WNBA, you know, that happened. So she ended up writing it in, and the Sparks game that they're at, where they do like the whole intro and stuff, it's actually a real Sparks game. And they only had one take that they can do. So it was just like, you can only do it one time and you gotta go, right? So she ends up, like, I ended up telling you guys how she ends up. listen, they end up together at the end of the movie. If you've never seen the movie before,
Yeah, from a spoiler alert for a
yeah,
25-year-old.
spoiler alert. If you've never seen a movie that's been around for 20 years,
20
no,
years,
but if you think about it, there's some people that probably haven't seen it.
yeah, you guys need to see it though.
Yeah, no, I'm not shading
Well-
you if you've never seen it. I'm just saying, I got the DVD. I was really excited that Hav remembered that I had it, and he has a PS4. Hav?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
those things still read DVDs. Yeah.
exactly. So I was really excited about that. And so we got to watch it with no commercials at the same time. But we finished the movie before because they were showing it on BET and they had a whole celebration.
A watch party.
A watch party and live, what is it? Live tweeting.
Live tweeting.
I love that. That's a really great thing to do though. There's a show I would love to do it with Insecure. But see what happened was on Sundays, Insecure is on Sundays, and I'm not on socials on Sundays, so I had to like delete the app and everything. So yeah, so I get to
Heard that.
Yeah, so I miss it, and it's kind of like. But then on Monday, I always see everything that I missed anyway. I'll be like, oh, okay.
So did you really miss anything?
Yeah, you don't. That's the thing. That's the thing that sometimes we tend to forget is that like we're not going to miss anything. Like of course you're not going to see it in real time, but it's going to be there. It's not going to go anywhere unless people are deleting it, but that's a whole different thing. Hold up, because I'm trying to find the poll, because I had asked Instagram because BET had asked on Twitter, and I was just like, this is a really good question to ask the timeline. Because like what would you do in that situation? So my followers said okay, so was Monica supposed to skip curfew? And 63% said yes and 37% said no. Now I need to add this because this is very important. When I look through the list of people, some of these people read this question. These are people that just automatically put yes on posts that are polls in people's stories. If you didn't know, that's what's happening. Welcome to the new world. It is happening, okay? So that's something that I do need to point out. I didn't like separate and be like, oh, this is an actual real page and I just know, like you just know, because it's just like, no, you're just fucking with me. Like you
Why
want me
doesn't they feel like that she should have stayed? Fuck it.
No, I'm not saying that, because there's some people who definitely feel that way. I'm talking about the people who they just do that for marketing.
Oh.
Yeah, they just put, because there's I asked a nail question. And then some of them will be dudes. And it was just like,
yeah, they're trying to get that Bitcoin off.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, okay, like you're just like trying, because a lot of the times when you look at that list, because you look at who's voting, you know what I mean? It's interesting to see who votes.
Yeah, who said what?
Yeah, like, oh, that's how you feel no wonder. No, let me stop talking shit. But it be like that, because some of the people you, like, especially if you've known somebody for a super long time and then they vote a certain way, you're just like, well, that makes sense. Like, totally would vote like this. But, okay, so now my whole thing is that, okay, you're gonna stay with your man for past curfew, right? And that just doesn't sit well with me. Like,
Did I play Janae Aiko triggered now? Or?
No, like, cause for me, she did the right decision, because this is why I believe she made the right decision in leaving. Okay, she made the right decision in leaving because, number one, she ended up not missing curfew, and she ended up starting the next game.
Bam! Shout out to her.
Was it? Yeah, like she ended up like having one of the best games ever, and then which got her the starting position, which then changed the direction of how she was schooling, and it just you just see her like excel so well in basketball. And then you see him and he's like making some weird decisions, and he's reacting towards the way that his father, like how he feels about his father. So at that point, like, yo, when something like that happens, like, you don't want to be in love. Dike love. What? Like, I don't want to be in a relationship at this point because, like, the relationship that I saw my whole life is in shambles. Like, it's done. Like, and my father just straight up lied to me to my face, and he made it look so easy. And I love that they point that out and how they bring that, and how it's now it's even it's more important, like, especially because we're going through this whole, like, dealing with childhood trauma and trying to understand the inner child that, is just hurt for whatever reason, because we don't know what hurt us until we actually go into that darkness. And a lot of us, we like the light. I feel it. But sometimes, man, you just gotta go in the darkness. Hey, like in Onward, Hav, they had to go through all that dark shit, and then they end up in like because you always have to find the light in things. There's something. If you've never seen Onward, it's a Disney movie and it's a very good one. Highly recommended for Mighty Sunshine and my sister. So
I co-sign it too. But y'all should check it out.
Yeah, so that was pretty dope. Okay, so back to this whole situation. So this is what I came up with. Quincy, which is played by Omar Epps, he was going
AKA Maul.
Yeah, he was AKA Maul. He watches the podcast. He actually listens to it because he was one of the people that tweeted that they need to come back. And when he said that, I was just like, oh. Yeah. There's like
continuing, sorry.
Yeah, no, there's like a lot of people. But yeah. I actually did want to share that because I think that's pretty cool. Like when, because I automatically thought of that movie. But yeah, so Quincy is going through that whole situation.
Say like you know him.
It's because I grew up with him like 20 years. I've been watching that movie for such a long time. But yeah, so Quincy goes through that with his parents, and then Monica ends up just excelling, right? And doing what it is that she wants to do. And so for him, if she would have stayed for the curfew, and if she would have left, it would have still been the same outcome, because he wouldn't want to take accountability, because he was quick to go ahead and go have lunch with the girl, you know what I mean, while they hadn't broken up yet. So it's like now he's thinking that, because like it's all a reaction to what happened with his parents. So that's the theory that I have. That's basically what it is. So if she would have stayed through curfew, she would have been good. It would have still been the same outcome if she would have, we saw the outcome of her, not skipping curfew. But I don't know. The only difference is that she would have gotten in trouble. She wouldn't have played the next game as good as she played, and she wouldn't have gotten the starting position. So, I don't know, guys. Call me crazy.
They would have lost. She wasn't playing.
I ain't missing curfew. This is my life. This is my life. This is my passion. This is what I'm obsessed for. This is, and then ultimately you see that she ends up back with him, which one of the reasons why she ends up that she stops playing is because it's no longer fun, because he's no longer part of it. Aww. Which is some real cute shit. Super cute. Yeah. So then they get back together, and then you see like the outcome, and it's great. I don't know. I think Monica made the right decision, and in the end, she ended up getting both. She ended up getting love, and she ended up getting basketball. So, who says you can't have it all? And they had a kid. So it's a pretty dope movie. If you feel differently, let me know.
If you feel different about loving basketball, damn, that's crazy. It also shows like how sometimes in a relationship it just be the timing, because like his basketball success, when she didn't have her basketball success, then she had it, and then he was like not having it. So
definitely
that was kind of crazy.
That timing shit is crazy.
Yeah, it's all about the timing.
It is so crazy, the time, because you always believe if it's meant to be, it's supposed to be, no matter what the time is.
Yeah, but shout out to this star-studded cast. You had Regina Hall, Gabrielle Union. Even the dad, he's been in
Omar Epps and Al Lathan.
Well, yeah. Well, of course them. Yeah, but I'm talking about like these other like
True.
the role players.
Who is the other dude?
Yeah, that guy.
Boris Cujo.
Who's always there.
He's done 2 movies with Sanaa, so that's good. There's some other I actually, cause a lot of the basketball players that they had, like that were the teammates, they actually were students at the schools.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so shout out. It was a black woman behind this, and she helped a lot of people. Like, look at the names that we just said, like Regina Hall. She was in this movie, and we were both like, this Regina Hall, what the heck? How? And it's just because, like, that's the thing, like, there's so many people that are great right now that you just seen since you were young, and you don't really notice that. That's what I noticed about the soundtrack. The songs that were in the movie, I noticed that, I'm like, I've always known these songs, and I never really knew why. And then it's like, oh, well, I watched Love and Basketball at, this age, so it makes a lot of sense as to why I know this song. So that's what I'm saying. The whole thing about having, like, listening to the music that your parents, like, listen to is sometimes you hear songs in movies that you've never heard before. So you're like, what is this? I want to hear it more. I want to just like indulge in it, and that actually happened to me with this Whitney Houston song. Is called I Have Nothing. I don't think I can probably believe that possibly when it was like those Light FM radio stations and like stuff like that, yeah. When you would like put that, and like back in the day I remember playing that and hearing different songs. So I don't know exactly where I know that song from, but I know, like, the other day, you can ask Hav, I heard that song on repeat, like, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I found out the year that she recorded it, 1992. The year that she got married to Bobby Brown was in 1992, because I wanted to know who.
It's a great year.
Yeah, shout out to Hav. Got a 92 baby in the building.
Yep.
But, yeah, so it just makes me think, like, who the hell hurt this woman that she has this voice that like just it like pierces through your soul and like makes you feel everything. And I'm just like, I'm so amazed by it. You would think I had never heard this song before. I've heard this song before, guys, but I'm telling you, this always happens to me. And so it's funny because on Instagram, one of the Instagram girls that I follow, that's a mom. Shout out to the moms. Yo, shout out to all the moms that are staying at home, that are able to, that, man, listen, like, I see them, and, like, I can only imagine, like, how it is just staying with your child 24/7. And then also having to work on top of that. Like, I know there's some moms who aren't working and they're at home, but there are some moms that are doing both, and I can just only imagine like how crazy that must be. So shout out to the moms. But one of the girls that I follow, she put pray for us moms that have to watch the same movie and sing along over and over and over again all day. And I'm like, wait a minute. I do that as an adult with songs. Like, there's songs that I just want to hear over and over and over again. And it goes back to our adolescence when we were little kids. Because I used to do the same thing. I used to freaking drive my mom, my dad, and my grandpa insane for this fucking Barney, like, video. And I'm sure there's other ones. I actually own a movie that I watched multiple times as a child. It's called Scamper's Little Adventure.
Scamper.
Yo, it's a penguin movie. If you do not know that, I'm obsessed with penguins. Always have been. And yeah, so that was one of the movies. I have the physical DVD of that movie because I remember I found it one time and I was like, this is a gem. This is a gem. Okay, so I did want to share that I'm drinking tea, guys. Yay. No liquor this time.
This time.
This time. I don't know, sometimes, a drink don't hurt nobody. What was I was talking about some, okay, the whole repeating the music and stuff like that. So I just correlated the two, and I was just like, dang, it's crazy how our minds um they change as we get older, and what we the habits that we keep from when we're younger, and things just it our whole life is what shapes us for who we are today. So be grateful for where you are at today. I know some of us are probably without haircuts. It's okay. It's all right. Eyebrows, listen. I'm here with you. Nails, who has them? Um, you know, I mean, I have them, guys. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm like walking around with nubs. Those are scary.
But I'm not gonna show you my nails.
For real. But yeah, and look, I know there's also people out there who are unemployed. The unemployment rate keeps going up and up and up, like as day goes by. And it's pretty scary because you don't know what's about to happen, because they're promising you something and nobody has gotten it. So it's like, what's really going on? Like, are you guys just going to leave us dry here? But it's okay. And I know a lot of us, like, there's some of us who are in situations and households that are not the healthiest option for us mentally, because sometimes, you're getting it just happens with whoever you are with. There can be times where you're living with somebody that's not very keen or understanding to your love language, or the way that you possibly like move or whatnot. So I can just imagine how that is for the people who are going through that. Because something that I actually was think about is that at this moment there are days where I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to really, like, I just want to be left alone. Like, just leave me alone. If I talk to you, I see you, cool, this, and that. But I have a family, right? So you think about it and you're kind of like, oh, I can't just not talk to them. It's not their fault I feel this way. And so something that I was thinking about is that in a relationship, like, how would you do that? When you basically sleep next to each other, you live together, you're in this life together now because you decided to, join your life together. So now you're left with, damn, like, I don't want to, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. So I asked this dude on Instagram, because on Twitter, because he actually said that about his own relationship. Like, there's days I don't want to talk to anybody, and then I turn to my left and I have a whole person sleeping next to me. And so I asked him, like, how, like, what does he do in that situation? And I should just bring it up because it was really good. And shout out to the fellas who are self-aware like this. I believe that is something that is really good in healthy relationships, is the whole communication, not with your partner but with yourself, and like what's going on internally, and maybe even understanding on how the other person would respond, would be, etc. So I tell him, this is something I think about as a single woman. I think about how I'll react in these type of situations with my significant other. What do you normally do when this happens? He says, honestly, nothing. I just deal with it and make sure I don't have to see anyone else but her. It's not her fault. And I asked if he communicates. He says, no, people are weird. Our brains make assumptions for us, and I'm not going to put anything in her head that makes her think I don't want to be around her, especially because it's not that serious. Sir, what a great answer. And I love that, because it isn't her fault. Just like how it isn't my family's fault that I don't want to talk, I don't want to anything. And I know that everybody goes through those days. So, just do. I mean, in that circumstance, to me, I believe that you should do whatever you feel is right. I'm just sharing a way that I believe is a healthy way. I don't, cause
That's great.
a great what?
I said that was great.
Yeah, I just believe that, like, it's something that he communicated with himself, and he was just kind of like, I'm not gonna tell her because it's not her fault. Maybe if you want to share what's bothering you, because sometimes you need that, Like, I know with Hav, like, if something's bothering me, like, I can just let him know, because fuck. I mean, he's been doing it my whole life, so, and vice versa. So, shout out to the brothers and sisters and siblings that listen to the podcast. We love you guys. It's fun. It's fun having a sibling. I want to have like another sibling people on here. We need to do the brother and sister
podcast. Yeah.
Podcast.
We gotta bring that back one time.
One time.
Shout out to people who don't have siblings. The only childs that are out there. Listening.
Real.
Hopefully you feel a little part of us.
Yeah, for real. You can be my brother. All right. So music, guys. I had a bomb ass list, and this is my first time looking at it. So will you look at me? I went all on that was another freestyle. Well, it was written. It was a written.
But I'm just referencing my work.
Exactly.
I ain't really checking. Because I know my bars is tight.
I just looked at my list and this shit is so wild what is in here. All right, so Wale dropped the video for Sue Me. If you guys have never heard this song, it is beautiful. If you do not know what the chorus of this song is Sue Me, I'm rooting for everyone that is black. And listen, that's how I feel. But this video was amazing. This video, basically what he does is that he does kind of like reverse roles. And what he does is that everything that normally happens to black men or black people in America is happening to a white man in America. Literally everything from the billboards, like they have like the people that are doing good in the community and like the people who are going to school and stuff, they're black. And then the ones who are doing bad things and even even being in jail, it's like as if they are black, the white people in the video. Am I making sense up? Do you get it?
I think I do.
Okay, so it's literally like
it's reversing.
Yeah, it's reversing. Yeah, it's reversing the roles. So it's a great concept in the video. It brings you into what is happening and what a lot of people I feel in this country are very blind to. Is that is what's happening in America, and it's like, why is it that it's happening for only this group of people? Like, what what makes them so different, like besides the color of their skin? And I just think that that's so like ugly, because even like with some of these people that are doing like protests and shit, like if you don't stay your ass home and stop doing like these protests and or like even going to parks and the cops being like so like almost scared of these women, that some of these women and men that are breaking the law at this moment, and she's going crazy, screaming, yelling, acting,
she pregnant.
Yeah. You stupid. She's acting mad crazy. She's not complying with what the officer is saying, and yet he's just looking at her like he's getting in trouble by his mother. And it's just like, if it were to be a black or brown person, it wouldn't be the same thing. So it's very eye-opening to what's happening right now, but a lot of people are not going to catch it because they're not going to watch it. Because
hopefully more people do watch it.
Bro, the thing is what happens is that people be sleeping on Wale, man. I'm going to need y'all to stop sleeping on my dog, because Jesus, this man is a genius. From the songs that he makes, to the way that he thinks, to the way that he puts words together, to the fact that I have to hear that voice on loudspeakers every time that I hear him. Like, hello, this is one of my favorite artists. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, like he's one of my favorite artists. So when he comes out with a song like this, a powerful video like this, it's like, what are you guys so afraid of? Like, why just like let him kick some knowledge to you, man, with a sweet ass voice and some bomb ass beats, like with great messages that make you feel like a strong, powerful person, not even just a woman. And something that's funny is that I think also what kind of like takes away from, because he's so pro-black and has songs like Sue Me and like Black Girl Magic. Like Black Girl Magic is one of my favorite. When that song comes on, I'm like, oh, and I dedicate it to all my black girls. Because like you just have to like celebrate things like that. And there's just so many things, guys. So Sumi, great video. Make sure that you catch it. Wale, I love you. One day, I promise, you will be here and we will share energy, and I cannot wait for that day. Putting it out there. Let's write this episode down so we can show it to him later.
117, I got you.
What? We can have it even in the notes. Okay, so basically, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is this show that Netflix dropped, which is called Black AF. Now, Black AF is this show that is written and, if I'm not mistaken, directed by Kenya Barris. Now, Kenya Barris is the person that's behind the shows like Blackish, Grownish, and Mixedish. So, a little background of Kenya Barris. He is a black man. He writes these shows. And something that I didn't know was that he is actually married or was married to a biracial woman. So something that he gets a lot of slack about is that he writes stories like that seem to be the mom isn't even black. Like there was always controversy behind it. Something that I admire is that it, showcases his family to the world, basically, because it's kind of loosely based off of that. So I love the fact that he has these type of shows, because it shows his kids like, hey, look, there's some representation for you guys out there. Look, like if, because it's the whole thing of like, if they're not gonna make it, I'm gonna make it. So I admire him for what he does, but it is literally the same thing as Blackish. Literally the same thing. What I do like is that it's kind of like what they're doing is that they're making it like it's one of the daughters. It's her project so she can get into a really good school, a film school. So she's filming a documentary of her family. So that's kind of like the whole concept that's behind it. So it's like a Curb and Office type of vibe.
Definitely a lot of Curb flavor in there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, and then like the way that he talks to his kids and how they talk to him is a little wild. It's a little wild. I don't know many people that would talk to their parents that way, but hey, maybe that's how they talk in his household, and that's not my house. It ain't my business. But it is something that you look at in the show. Also, some of the other things that I noticed was like the whole history lesson. And for me, I don't really mind the whole history lesson. In one part I do, simply because I believe that sometimes it can be triggering for some people. Like seeing images or too many images of like slavery, and that was another thing. Every episode had some, like every episode says yeah, you guessed it, because of slavery or something like that. It had something to do with that. And so yeah, and sometimes like even it also brings up the whole concept of adultification, which happens with a lot of little black girls, like I guess when they're younger. I would say that also happens in the Hispanic and like Latino households, because like when a little like a Spanish girl is 12 years old, she's looking like she's about 14, 15. She has to help around the house, so she ends up getting a little bit more mature in her thinking, because she's like feels like she's taking care of a home. And then the motherly instinct comes in, because she had dolls when she was growing up. It's the same thing with what happens with black girls. That's something that I feel is one of the things that I see my culture in, and I like that, because black culture isn't my culture, but I see there's kind of like similarities. So I like that there's representation behind that. And so that's something that I like, that is kind of cool about the show, is that I see the representation in certain things, but I also can see how it could be triggering for some people. That's all I'm saying. But I read an article about it, and it just says how it's like one of those good shows that it's kind of like it's not done too well, but it's still a good show to enjoy, because this is how they started off the show. They started off playing Super Rich Kids by Frank Ocean. That's the intro song to the show. That's the very first song that you hear. And they got me. I was like, oh, this is the type of music y'all playing in this show? That's it. I'm watching it. Like, if the person...
So a little entourage in there, too.
Yeah, and so... Because I'm the type of person that, like, as soon as I hear the type of music that I like, From actually having now that you mentioned that, yeah, a little bit of that too, because it's based on a movie star.
Right, yeah, and it's kind of like it's not the best, like,
Yeah,
or
but
it's
it's
not like
like, oh, I'll watch 8 seasons of this.
in one day.
One day, for real. But yeah, so I would say just watch it if you're into shows like that. Of course, there's people who have their whole little thing about that. I did talk about the Teddy Riley versus Babyface. I didn't get to watch it live because I couldn't get on it. And I heard that there was more than 4 million people on there, and that's kind of crazy. I heard that there were other ways. I just didn't do them. But I heard the playlist, and that playlist is bomb as hell. So I could just imagine how the battle went. Shout out to them. And then there was a Wayne versus Fab battle that happened, which gave me life because I love Wayne so much, and love mixtape Wayne. And that shit just goes hard. And it was done by Rory. Rory was trending on Twitter. That shit was crazy. And Maul won in my heart because of how how he presented himself in the battle. He was so like, he was in character. He would pretend like to know stories of the night that some of the songs were recorded, and it was just pretty funny. It was cool. I love them, so it was, nice to see like just them out of the podcast. I always find that funny, like even when like Joe and Rory do it. That's pretty cool. Okay, so there's so much, guys. There's how much time we got, Hav?
Got about another 15.
Oh, no, I don't think so, because we still got. I want to talk about The Last Dance because the first 2 episodes premiered this past weekend, and definitely caught that, and it was so dope. The music was amazing. That's one of my favorite things about it is the music. Okay, so the reason why I say this is because music is very important to me. Music in shows, music in movies, in my life. Like, I have a song for everything, so you guys get my drift.
Yeah, what's that soundtrack looking like?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I think somebody already has it because they've already seen all 10 episodes, but they have to wait until all 10 episodes drop so that they can drop the playlist.
Oh, damn.
If we were talking about The Last Dance. But yeah.
Inside scoop there, Cuddy.
No. This is just on Twitter. This is public information. But yeah, so I wanted to point that out because, like I said, it's very important to me. Something else that I really enjoy is I'm seeing a lot of the old MJ footage because, of course, like I love MJ. Like, I'm the type that I won't even debate about like who's better.
Who's the best?
Like, who's the best? Like, who? Like, and it's just like, why are we even having this conversation? Like, or like, who is the greater? Or like, just because like you see it, the proof is in the pudding, right? The proof, and this.
So who's the best?
This documentary just like shows you that. Like, I just feel like it just because he just continued to get better and push forward, and he knew that he wanted to be the greatest in what he was doing, which was basketball. So he continued to just learn and get better and study his opponents, not so that he can like be malicious about it, but so that he can whoop some ass and beat like everybody and just become a better person and player himself, in essence. So it was really cool to see that. It was cool to see his parents speak. I think it was just his mom. Yeah. It was cool to see like that speak. I think his brother was on there, and just see that dynamic, and then Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, which goes down as one of the best coaches the league has ever had. Guys, basketball is missed. I was watching Hot Play 2K. Cause it was like
yeah, no, I saw my sister and the player, my dad, it was watching me play 2K. I was feeling like, damn, this is like them watching sports finally.
I was like,
because I felt like they were actually watching, like kind of like appreciating the shit. Like, damn,
I
good block.
Yeah, I ended up doing my makeup there because it was just like, wow, I feel like I'm watching a game right now. Because my dad was coaching in the back, like. It was awesome. One of the things that I loved about watching the Last Dance was watching it with my brother and my dad. So.
And we did take that dub. Shout out to the player.
But yeah, so that was pretty it was pretty good to watch. I know there's gonna be more that's gonna come out.
Yeah, 2 more this Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I want to see what else they unravel
Yeah, we'll give a more in-depth review.
and the dynamic that they go.
Right, once we see the full picture, we could give you guys more of a better review.
But just know we're tuned in.
Tuned in, recorded.
And we
All new episodes on the TiVo. I feel like it's not even called TiVo anymore. Comment below if you made it this far. What is it called now? Is it on demand?
I call it isn't it DVR?
Recorded? I don't know. DVR.
You can say I recorded.
I think it's DVR.
I recorded.
I recorded it.
Okay. Guys, give me just one. Oh, guys. Okay, so this was really funny to me. French Montana said that he could beat Kendrick Lamar in a battle. And that was just very wild to me. It was super wild to me. That was super wild to me. Because, French, I listen to your songs when they have features on it. And there's times where I don't listen to your part. Like, Stay Scheming is my shit. But as soon as I hear your voice, it's over. And if you guys didn't know, there's a joke that John Fifth looks like French Montana.
A joke, or is it the truth?
So I had to let him know, sir, you out here wilding. You out here wilding in these streets.
Get back in pocket.
And it's interesting because there was actually a page who did a battle between the songs, and Kendrick won 20 out of 20. And it wasn't like, what they did was a poll for each song. Let me see.
They weren't even trying to be biased.
Yeah,
They were
no,
hold on.
They did like a whole thread of the 20 songs, and they did a poll for every single song.
Damn.
Yeah, so some of the songs in this thread, I'm gonna mention them real quick. Okay, they're just
so a couple songs that went head to head.
They had No
shit.
Stylist against Mad City. They had Pop That versus King's Dead. King's Dead is my shit. My shit. No Shopping versus Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe got 94%, and No Shopping got 6%.
Yeah. Oh man. Damn.
And there's some that is 70 versus 93.
Y'all ain't got it. You ain't had to do that. Damn.
Yeah, so pretty much Kendrick wins. I mean, if this were to even happen in real life, it would have. You know what? French Montana is out of pocket because it be when you're going through something that you say some crazy shit, and then since you say it on the internet, it backfires, and then you also forget that the internet can find out certain things about your personal life. That's public information, might I add, and you forget that, and so it's kind of like, oh, now I see why you was bugging. And I know that he's just in trouble, like with the law or something like that. I don't remember word for word what it is, but yeah, that's why.
Dry snitching? Relax.
I'm not dry snitching. I just said that this is public information. This isn't information that like he told me. I'm like, shit. I'm just saying.
Stay scheming.
Got a money for the lawyer. What is it? Got a budget for the lawyer though. I always do that.
And that's Ross' part.
I know.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying about the battle.
I wanted to point out that TDE is dropping songs every day for TDE Appreciation Week.
Facts. And Reason dropped that video.
Reason dropped a crazy video, a very controversial video, might I add. And he did it very well, especially for what's going on right now. He did an animation video and it had the lyrics to the whole song. So, and then of course like the drawings had to do with what he was saying in his lyrics. So it was very nice to look at because you got to read the lyrics. There was the animation behind the lyrics, and you felt like it was the actual music video, not like how some of those videos do, like the lyric videos that they have on like YouTube. You guys have seen those, right? Yeah. So it's not like one of those. I felt like it was like the actual video. So that was pretty cool. I know Trouble has dropped songs. The Smino dropped a project. Um,
Guap Dad dropped the EP.
Guap Dad dropped an EP.
Don Tolliver dropped
Chopped Up.
Not Slopped Up.
Yeah. And well, I was gonna point somebody
I
else
feel
out.
like that sounded good. Y'all let me know.
It did sound really good. Hav, I'm very proud of you. Dang man, I'm having like a mental of who dropped. Oh, Sir and Boogie dropped a song together, which is called Rapper Weed. I really like both of them, so I'm really happy that they did a song together.
You talked about the Division album, right? Yeah, we talked about that.
I fucking love that Division album.
Just making sure we talked about it.
Man, that Division album is so good. I was listening to the song. I spoke about it last week, and what this girl says at the end of the poems, something that I enjoyed in this project, in Division's project, and in West Side Gun's project is that they had like girls speaking on the track, and one of them is a poet. The other one, I just think they just got her and said, "Hey, share this." You know, hold on, I'm trying to pick up. It's the very first song. Is called "No Good," and at the end of the song, she says, "This is what I was talking to you guys about last week. I really wanted to bring it up." Okay, so she says, it goes, "I'm just no good at love. Got me thinking love ain't no good for me. Got me thinking I have a hard time opening up to people. I get closed off. I feel that my being emotional in front of someone makes me weak and vulnerable. And I truly loved anybody. They've always stabbed me in the back." So that's some deep shit. And sometimes, like, as somebody who feels that way sometimes, where it's just like, you want me to be vulnerable? What? Like, I don't know. And it just gets a little tricky when it comes down to that, because a lot of us associate vulnerability with love, and or even in friendships, you get vulnerable with somebody and they do some fuck shit to you, and it's just like, what the fuck? It goes both ways though. Don't ever forget that. There's a lot of the times that person wouldn't have acted that way if you wouldn't have done something that you didn't know that you did, until you do that that self-care and that going into that darkness I was talking about. But yeah, that Division album is really good, and I did want to bring that poem up. And then the one in the West Side Gun project, that's the one Party with Pop Smoke.
Yeah, Party with Pop Smoke. Yeah.
So she's a poet as well. She retweeted me. I was really happy because she says if he has like drug and gun or gun and drug charges excite me, and I was just like, wow, she made that sound so beautiful. Like yeah, she made like what she was saying, like basically what the poem that she is saying in this song is, it has to do pretty much with he's not the devil, like he's a god, you know. Yeah, he got his gun and drug charges and felonies and like all this stuff, but like he's still a king type of thing, and like that's how she sees him and puts him on a pedestal. And I don't know, I really like that song. I said that was like one of my favorite songs from the project when it dropped. So
yeah, shout out West Gun. Glad to see him doing healthy. R.I.P. to Fred the Godson too, before we forget.
For real.
That yeah, man, shit is going down.
Ooh, let me get some tea real quick, guys. Another thing that I wanted to point out was I saw the track list for the B-side performance that Jay-Z did last year.
When Claudia found this list, she like came and slapped me in the face to read me this shit.
Because that list was hard.
This is hard.
He performs Feeling It. He performed Feeling It. He performed Ignorant Shit. And this is I'm combining both of the lists because there's two B-side performances that he's done.
Say hello to the
cat.
He did that one?
What? Yes. That's my shit. If you owe me $1, you ain't giving me 9. Y'all ain't give me 40 acres and a mule. So I got my Glock 40 and I'm cool. What?
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
I about to drop that.
Yo, first of all, like, yeah, the thing is that I'm having concert withdrawals, and the person that I'm having the most concert withdrawals with is Jay-Z. So when that when that B list thing came out, I started listening to Jay-Z, and I just really got into that. And it baffles me that people believe that anybody can go against him in a battle, because it's impossible. This man has B-sides that can freaking mop the floor with anybody's hits. Listen, they really said Drake. How?
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Drake has really good B-sides. I will give him that. The thing is like, man.
He's the only one that you could put in that ballpark, I
Drake
think.
has nothing was the same. And I feel like if you were to drop that now, I never thought about this before I thought about this topic. But it's just because, man, Jay-Z, like, what do you mean? Like, I say this all the time, man. He made me feel like I was really in the kitchen cooking with him during In Reasonable Doubt. Like, I always say that, and it's because I feel it. And I guess Drake never made me feel like that. He just made me feel like he knew where I was coming from or what I was going through. And sometimes it's good to, hear something that doesn't trigger you. Just saying.
Just makes you want to clean the trigger, the trigger for Prince.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that one of the reasons that like hip hop has been so worldwide?
Because they could take you there.
Yeah, it can take you to what the
Compton,
lyricist is. Yeah,
it
can take you to Compton. It can take you to Atlanta. It can take you to New York. It can take you to South Africa. It can take you to Nigeria. It can take you to China. It can take you to wherever. And that's just like that's what's so beautiful about it, is that it can take you there. And I'm not saying that Drake doesn't do that, because he does it in his own way, but like Jay-Z just does it in a way that's just different. It's something that like it's B-sides. So imagine what his A-sides are. Like, those are just his B-sides. Imagine his A-sides, And I'm not saying that Drake doesn't have them, because when I compared playlists between Jay-Z and Drake, they both had 50 in the playlist. So it's fair to say that they can battle each other. But I'm just saying Jay-Z's going to win. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Because that B-side, yeah. Me and Hop just went off of what was on our heads. Like, we didn't even look at the list. Yeah, we didn't even check that. I was just talking about the ones that I was really excited to see.
Breaking news, I guess. Kehlani's
Ding, 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 ding!
announced a new album dropping on her birthday,
May 8th. She's a Taurus. Nice. Shout out to all the tourists who are celebrating their birthdays.
And all my Yay area natives.
True that. Shout out to them, gang, gang. Okay, so I have a couple more things left. I did want to say happy anniversary to Lemonade. It's been 4 years since it dropped. And we are Beehive members, so we want to celebrate the king for that amazing project. I also wanted to point out that Erykah Badu has a streaming platform, and she's been doing performances on there, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Musically. And yeah, so shout out to Erykah Badu for doing that. I love that someone pointed out that it should be Erykah Badu versus Lauryn Hill, and she said that Lauryn would kill her. Like, she would beat her, basically.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I really love that, because that's a really good toe-to-toe. It's another good toe-to-toe, on who would be good. But for her to, be the one to be like, nah, she would beat me is pretty admirable. Listen, man, she ain't get Common and Andre for nothing. And Jay Electronica, right?
Yeah, and she probably could get about anybody she want right now.
And the vibe that she has in like her little performances that she does is that she's like sitting on this big ass pillow.
Well, Musically is an app. It's not her app.
No, she actually the one that I saw is spelled differently. It's spelled Musically.
Shout out to Erykah Badu.
Maybe.
Shout out Badu. Love what you're doing.
Yeah, no, it's not the MUSI.
Help me get my chakras aligned.
Yeah, no, she is really dope. And I really enjoy it. I like that because hello, perform more for me, please. Thank you, appreciate it. Especially right now, we need it. I want to learn how to DJ. I want to learn how to girls are doing makeup tutorials. There's workouts. There's so many different things. You're on Instagram and you're just like, wow, I can do all of this from the comfort of my own home. This is awesome. And so shout out to everybody who is doing that. I do want to point that out. The DJs, the versus battles. Also to all the nurses and everybody, the essential workers that are working, like shout out to you because listen, what I'm going through right now, I feel like it's a privilege because you guys are out there and actually doing the work and putting your lives at risk. I went out today for like the first time since like last week maybe. So yeah. So yeah, that's how it's been. So like I said, it is a privilege to be even working from home. So thank you to all the essential workers who are doing what they got to do at this time. We appreciate you so very much. The NFL draft happened.
That's right.
The NFL draft happened, and there was just a couple of funny moments that happened. I didn't watch the draft, but I was on Twitter when the draft was happening, so I got to live tweet for that one. I miss Insecure, but I don't miss the NFL draft, I guess.
Priorities.
But yeah, so it was just funny to like see because a lot of them, since they couldn't do like how they normally do it, where they're like in a place. And then they're sitting in tables, you know, they have their own tables with their families, and then they have the camera on them, and then they walk up to the stage as they get drafted. Since they couldn't do that, what ended up happening was people were doing basically like a Zoom, you know, at their home. So a couple of funny things happened. Like we had a girlfriend take a phone. We had a girlfriend get way too in the camera. We had a girlfriend who was thick as fuck. And so people just had so many things to say about that. And that's the main thing that they had to point out is the women that happened to, you know, get on the camera. But shout out to all the guys who got drafted. I know it's probably like a dream of them since they were kids, and you know, for them to have reached this accomplishment is awesome. And during a time like this, like that's always going to be remembered, like, oh man, remember when the virus was around? Like that's like the same time I got drafted. Like imagine telling like people that story. I don't know, shout out to them. Won't be watching football, but shout out to them. And I also wanted to point out that Rock Nation and also Lil Wayne's sports agency, they had, if I'm not mistaken, like early draft picks get drafted in like the draft.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so shout out to the hip hop, man, in the NFL draft with, you know, there are sports agencies that were able to come into fruition because of hip hop and the money that was brought into these rappers' lives. They were able to, you know, build a legacy in sports. And so yeah, so they're the people that they represent were part of, I think, if I'm not like the top 10, something like that, like third and fourth I think Wayne had. So yeah, you think Wayne has time to do a battle right now? Tuh. This man is over here freaking having people join the draft and like, you know, join the NFL, and that's crazy because Wayne, if you've been listening to Wayne for as long as he's been out, has been very vocal about football and loving football. So it's cool to see, you know, him have, you know, his agency representing people in the draft. That's cool. So clap it up for hip hop. This is why we do it. Hey, hey.
Shout out Meg Thee Stallion and Just Cuz.
Just cuz. Hey yo, Meg's body is insane. Meg's body is insane, and I just believe that I would, you know, I want to be in a swimsuit all the time. I get her. I get why she's always in a swimsuit. I always want to be in one. But the thing is that these fools are over here building houses next to my backyard. And I'm just like trying to be in my swimsuit with like a whole bunch of construction workers, like building a whole house like right there. So it's been a little hard. The beach isn't open. But yeah, I can't wait till the day where I can wear a swimsuit and have the sun on my skin and get in water and all that good shit. Doom, doom, doom. I checked my list and I checked it twice, and I think we're good to go. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you listen to us on Spotify, thank you. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. If you watch us on YouTube, we appreciate you.
And you.
And you.
And you.
And all y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, Hav. I appreciate you as always. Thank you again to all the essential workers who are out there. I appreciate you and send so many prayers and positive vibes to you and your family for the 117th time in a row. Shout out to all the moms. Had to say that. This is your girl, Claudia Renee, on your airwaves. This is the Ambition Hour podcast, and we are out of here.